me come tonight. Last December, Matt Gross and some other people came and identified some needs within the community. And there were 11 projects that were identified, and the high priority was a school needing early childhood and daycare, a senior center, Boys and Girls Club, adult education, public meeting space, wood shop was next, fitness center, food shelf, and then community cafe, and then a vet clinic and city hall. And out of the 11 things that were identified, 7 of those would be fulfilled with the new school referendum edition. And the biggest challenges facing the city, of course, would be taxes, a limited tax base, infrastructure and streets, a lack of a senior center, and lack of space for school facilities. And by the school purchasing the property down on 5th Street, that should take care of the school space. And also the senior center will go in on that corner of it. Tonight the school board is endorsing a 25-year lease with the seniors for that space, so that the rumors that were going around in the community that they're going to suck the seniors in so that everybody votes for this referendum, and then once everybody gets passed, then they're going to say, goodbye, we need the space for something for this school. So by signing the lease, that's not going to happen. So we have a lot of momentum generated within the community to vote for this referendum, and I'm here to ask the City Council to endorse it.
Gwen, when I met with Matt Gross, I asked him about that lease with the seniors and asked him how, because us on the council here, we can't tie the future city council's hands to anything. And I'd asked him there, now if the school were to fill up again and space was needed, would a judge enforce that lease? He told me no, because education will always come first in the school. But I guess my biggest question with this, in the year 2000, we passed a $8.1 million referendum. At that time, there were 500 students, according to the U.S. Department of Education's website, in the school. According to them, in 2015, there's 505. Now, if what we passed in 2000 was enough for 500, how do we need so much more?
I think the composition of the classes has changed. In 2000, there were more kids at the high school. Now there's not room for all of the kindergarten classes. That's why they're going to be building the 4 kindergarten classes starting this fall. And then the next phase of the project would be putting into 4 early childhood classrooms, which would take our kids from the Goodall and bring them over there. The only out-of-school place that will remain will be the Learning Center, because that's a carrot and a stick. When a kid can't behave in the classroom, they go there. When they show that they can behave there, then they can come back into King School. So I think it's more, not so much the numbers, Chris, but the distribution of them with more young children.
Now, they also said over the past 4 years there's been growth at the school, which has to an extent, but it was less than 5 years ago that they sold the North School. It was 4 years, 8 months ago. In those 8 months, did the population boom, or how did we miss that all these new kids would be coming into the school?
I think part of it, you've identified that the population has changed, and I believe it's because Deer River is such a good place to live that people are wanting to move here, especially young families. And the other part of it, selling North School, was that North School would have required so much work to bring it up to snuff, and there would have been such a small population there that the kids would not have had the education that they deserve.
But wasn't the North School also part of the 2000 referendum?
Yeah, they built up there just shortly before they shut her down.
Yes,
it was a big mistake for them to do that. I think that school needs to worry about education and not social work. I got a grandson over there that 2 times in 2 weeks he got put on the wrong bus. I think those are the kinds of things they need to correct, instead of worrying about serving community cafe meals, the senior center. School is for education, not for social work. We sat here last week, one night, and the week before, 2 nights, trying to sit here and figure out what we could do to help the taxes and balance things out financially for the city. And then now we're gonna want to put more of a burden on our taxpayers. When this project, they took tax base off the roll. I don't care what anybody says, their trailers, whatever, money's money. They paid twice of what that land was worth, wasted tax dollars, paid twice of what that land was worth over there, displaced 4 families, one with the newborn, and now when they move out of there, they're gonna get more money, tax dollars. Tax. I would think that as a good steward, we should try to put a curb to this pork belly tax spending. I mean, that's just way out of line, and anybody, there was no public hearing over the purchase of this land or anything. It was all done real, and to pay twice of what it was worth, how can anybody be in support of that kind of wastefulness? I mean, to me, and if it starts out that way, it's not gonna get any better as the project continues.
Well, I can't answer part of your comment because I was not present when the vote was taken. I'm not on the school board, I'm just an interested community member that wants the best for our kids.
Well, I do too. I don't think I'm anti-education.
But I think part of it that has always bugged me as a taxpayer is these big buildings that sit empty so much of the day, in the evening and weekends and in the summer. And to be able to use them for community cafe, Boys and Girls Club particularly, that gets so many of those kids that would be rattling around the streets or home alone, Lord knows doing what. That would be a perfect place for them, right there in the school where they are, instead of busing them here where they're so crowded in the old science rooms.
Now, with the population growth, I mean, we've had 4 years of it. Kids are going to the high school in 6th grade. In the next 3 to 5 years, is the high school going to be able to support this number, or will that also need added on to? Because my question there, my reason for wondering that, because if that would need it added on to, maybe it would make more sense to do a middle school. I mean, the school's got 80 acres there where they could certainly be able to accommodate that, and I just wonder if that has been looked at or considered, for the future. I guess more or less wondering if in a few years will a referendum come back for that building.
I can't answer because I don't have any knowledge of that. It just seemed to me that of the 11 things that the council identified as needs within the community, 7 of them are solved by this, that it would be a good thing for you to get behind and say, yes, we endorse it.
When we were behind that, maybe one thing you're missing, when we were behind that, we had the idea that it was gonna take place in the Ryla building. And all of a sudden, it's gonna be over there at the King's School.
I think they saw the dollars and realized that doing the Ryla building would have been a waste of money. You would have had a metal building with lots of improvements and still would have been a metal building.
A moldy metal building.
A moldy one, yeah.
Never seen mold on metal, whatever.
Thank you.
When I guess when what was I going to say? When we were talking that Ryla building, they were looking at about a $6 million project in there. And that was supposed to take care of the problems.
No, that would only have brought early childhood there. They still would have needed the kindergarten rooms at King. So they would have had to have done some fiddling to make that happen.
But by that point, they'd already voted. I mean, regardless what happens, they're spending $2.9 million on the phase 1.
It's a done deal.
And so the kindergarten would be taken care of there.
Yes.
We were still looking, but how, I mean, 6 million and 2.9 still doesn't add up to 11. I guess why, when it moved over here, did it need to grow so large?
There were other things that were added to the project. Because you know, when you do city projects, or when you do stuff at home, you always start one thing and then another thing happens. And it just adds on and adds on. One of the things that they're doing at the high school is increasing security. That's a accident waiting for a place to happen without anyone manning the front doors during the day. Anyone could walk in. And there's a video camera there, but not everyone is always aware and watching who's entering the school there. So that's one of the things. The other big one down at King is replacing the boilers that were put in when Eisenhower was president. It's probably before you were born, Chris.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that will be a great energy savings. So there are projects like that that are being included.
I think from dollars and cents wise, the city won't be going backwards in revenue
Well, we won't,
by losing mobile homes because of the home that's being built.
but Habitat was gonna
They're
build that
built
home
anyway, so
beforehand.
don't even bring that up. That house for Habitat was gonna be built anyway. That's
Right.
just kind of a slide in there to try to make
But another thing for the
candy
city
wrap
side
in
of
a
it,
turd.
if the school would have purchased the Ryland building, that would have been tax-based loss. So, you gotta kinda look at it, I mean, the tax dollars and cents, the city isn't gonna go backwards in this, but. I
What,
just
how much
put that
do
in.
the taxes on those mobile homes run? I mean, what is it in a year?
I didn't. I
By
don't
the
know
s-
exact-
by
I think
this-
that would be a nice, interesting thing to find out.
And-
I mean, what are we talking about is,
And Matt Gross's, or on the school's website, they say about 1,500 a year for those set, and then I'm not sure what it is
for all of them or for one of them?
for them all.
1,500?
But then, and then I don't know, cause they just bought the next property by it, but I don't know what the taxes are on that one. And then with the Habitat home, that's between 2,200 and 2,400 coming in.
But the sad thing is, that was private land still, but now that it's public land, nobody will ever have the opportunity to build a home that would maybe bring in more tax dollars. You know, the whole thing is,
I don't know what all their plans are for all of that area there.
I don't know either. They had 80 acres the other way, and the infrastructure was set up to go to the east and everything. So I don't know why they had to displace 4 homes, and as far as I'm concerned, ruin my neighborhood. And now I've got to look across that lot and look at a school with lights and cameras.
You will have input on lights and cameras before they are installed, Wade, so that we will
Still
not,
gonna have
that's
an
right
ugly,
outside my
gonna have
bedroom
an ugly
window.
brick building to look at instead of neighbors. And I don't know, anybody could say that's an improvement. They might be trailer houses, but they kept them pretty nice except for the one that nobody lived in.
Right.
You know, it's just wasting dollars to spend twice the amount of money. That land wasn't even worth half of what they paid for it. That's not a good thing. So if they're wasting money right there, you just follow the track that. There's gonna be waste. You know, and anything that we gain from this annexation, you know, I'm afraid we're gonna have to everybody's gonna have, taxes are gonna go down, and I'm gonna have to give it to the school. That's, you know, it's just goofy that we even try. Why are those speed bumps there? Because we're trying to control traffic and stuff. Now, that problem's not gonna get any better. It's gonna make that traffic problem worse, you know?
I can't say that I agree with you on that, because
Of course you
I
don't,
think,
because you're for this, Gwen.
no, but I think they're going to see, how they can restructure the parking situation.
They
And
built to the east, they could have busted them right down behind,
Well-
out of everybody's way.
Most of this is neither here nor there, they're gonna do what they're gonna do,
Well,
and
of course
we
they
have no
are.
control over that.
I know we don't.
So and I understand it's a hot topic for you, Wade, but sitting here and hashing out what the school's already done isn't doing us any good.
You know, I don't know why anybody wants to. Over 200 years ago, we left England so we could get away from the government influence in our thinking and all, and now you want to bring that 200 years back. Everybody that drowned in the Potomac River to start this country, you're throwing that away because now you want to involve the government in the school and have the government impose and give an opinion based, because the local government says this is a good idea. Government, stay out of it.
Again, the school's gonna do what they're gonna do, we have no control.
We need to stay out of it. This government, And it's just,
Okay, so it would be your recommendation then that we not endorse this?
absolutely my recommendation.
You gonna make a motion to that?
I motion that we do not endorse this.
I'll second that.
Motion by Wade, seconded by Chris. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks for coming in, Glenn.
Sorry I'm so passionate for my freedom, but I'm not gonna trade my freedom over some teachers, I'll tell you that. And then what my freedom meant, many a good man give their lives for that freedom, and then we're supposed to just, you know, whatever, I'm done.
And you're passionate for freedom, I'm passionate for education.
So am I, but I also passionate for them to be responsible with the building they already have and the kids they already have. And they can't do that already, and then they wanna bring in feeding seniors and all this and that. I'm afraid that what bus my kid's gonna, grandson's gonna get put on this year when school starts.
We should move on.
Yeah, I think so. Again, thanks a lot for coming in, Glenn, and
You wanna?
Can I throw one more thing out? I came 2 or 3 years ago after the big storm and asked about a tree planting project to improve the city and improve the environment. And at that time, Mark had looked up and trees are like $25 a piece, which is awfully expensive. I'm wondering if there are any other alternative routes that could be done, not necessarily to get trees in a root ball, but to get bare root. I mean, if they were $5 and people planted 5 trees and 4 of them grew, that would be a real benefit rather than spending $25 for one tree that may not
Yeah.
make it.
Could you, Mark, look maybe at the Itasca Nursery, see, I think, I forget if it's spring or fall that they usually have
Oh,
good
have that
sales on
sale?
different trees.
You mean
In
by
the spring?
Power plant?
Yeah,
Yeah, they give away so many trees every.
well,
they have a
and
person
then,
every year.
and then others, they have good prices on,
We could probably get some little pine trees from the Rylas, I'm sure they would be more than happy to donate some.
And so do the, US Forestry.
So you're talking individuals or the city to buy these trees?
Didn't think that far, Barb. Whatever the council would recommend, I would certainly buy some and plant a bunch around my house, even if it's a pain in the butt mowing.
let's see, what those prices would be for the spring, and, cause we did lose some good trees in that storm.
Well, and then when they came around and cut all those limbs
Yeah,
for the power
Oh.
lines too, it was like, whoa,
when you cut
everything's
half a
died.
tree, you wonder why you don't just take them all
I
too,
know,
but.
it's ridiculous.
It'd have to be a tree the deer didn't like, because I worked a few night shifts now, and there's a lot of deer in town.
Stay away from white pine. Cedar.
Apples, they love my apple trees.
They love my vegetable garden too.
well, we certainly look into prices and stuff, Glenn.
Thanks.
Never hurts to look into it.
What else you got, Mark?
Cindy is back. Might wanna put her up next.
Sure.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything.
Oh,
I-
you're just
I-
there
I'm
listening.
just here to listen to what Tammy has to.
She knew I was gonna come back with an update on what I did with the chipping of cats and dogs. And, in talking with Grand Rapids, they have not, incorporated this yet, they hope to. I guess their concern is because they have so many organizations down there that they were afraid that they would start shipping the feral cats. So then they would end up with that, they wouldn't be able to get rid of their feral cats because they'd be shipped and then someone would be saying, yeah, that's mine. And so that was their concern, is that the feral cats would get shipped. But they have scanners there, and with the new program that Jackie's starting with Zerker, that the shipping numbers and everything will be included in that as well. And the vets are giving them that information too when they're chipping the animals and the numbers and things. So that will be in that pilot program that she's doing with all the animals in the county. So it's something they're looking at. That was just their concern as to why they hadn't put that in yet. you know, of course, we still have passed that